Thanks for coming in today. I'm really glad you made it. Can you remind me what your last name is again so I can pull you up on the screen here? Okay. With an I? Okay. Okay, awesome. Like I was saying, thanks for stopping by today. How has your first week gone so far? Good, yeah. Yeah, and she's been here for 5 or so years, so yeah, she's really good. I'm glad that's working out for you. So you want us to go over your benefits, and you will be eligible at the start of next month, so we can get you signed up for that. Yeah, and I have a booklet here that I can go over some stuff with you that you can take home, and I'll kind of circle some stuff, and we'll put in your preferences for today, but you can come in anytime and we can adjust those. So no big deal if you change your mind. Okay, so actually let me, do you want a lifesaver? Okay, so the first page just talks about when enrollment is, but you are new, so you don't have to worry about that. And then we've got contact information on the second page. And here's some new information, but you don't know what the old plan looks like, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay, so to start out, we've got the big one, obviously, that everyone worries about is medical insurance. So we've got two plans. We've got a traditional PPO and we've got an HSA eligible plan. And I can go through each of what that looks like on your end, and the coverage a little bit, just some general coverage. Do you understand what either of those things are, first off? Sure. So traditional PPO, that's going to just be like a regular insurance plan, employer covered. And the HSA, so that's a health savings account plan. So that means you'll have a little bit lower of a premium that you pay each month, but then, or per pay period, I guess. But then you are able to put in extra tax-free money into an HSA account that you can use on qualified medical expenses, but you do have a little bit of a higher annual maximum and deductible. So yeah, sure, we can go through that. I'll circle anything or highlight anything on here that you have questions about. So for the traditional PPO, and I was going to ask, is it just going to be you on the insurance? Do you have, we have employee plus one, so your spouse, and then if you have children, we have the family package. So, okay, just the employee for now, and then, right, yeah, of course. Oh, congratulations, I'm glad to hear that. So maybe in a year or so when you guys finally get married, we can add that. Sure. Okay, so we've got, so employee only, so traditional PPO is going to be $92.05 per pay period, and that's once every 2 weeks, and we pay on Thursdays. So, because I know most places do Fridays, but we typically have it done by Thursday because then it gives us a little bit of a leeway if something's wrong, and we can, you know, with whatever it ends up being, we can quick fix that before everyone's gone for the weekend. So that's kind of why we do that. So you'd be looking at $92.05, and then with the HSA plan, that'd be $76.86 per pay period. The biggest difference here is going to be the deductible and the out-of-pocket. And then with like the HSA plan, that's going to be more of like a percent you pay. With a traditional PPO, that's going to be like a copay option. So the deductible for traditional PPO is $1,000. and that's going to be per calendar year. And then the HSA is going to be $3,400. Yeah, I'll circle that. Okay. Then your out-of-pocket max, and this is including prescriptions. Some plans don't. This one does. It'll be traditional PPO $3,500, HSA $4,500. So that's not as big of a jump here. And of course, these change a little bit with spousal coverage, but we can go over that when we need to. Then we've got, so each of these have the same preventative, prenatal, and well child care are all covered at 100%. That's typical. That's for both plans. And then here's the difference. Office visits. So if you have a cold and you need to go in and, strep throat or something, or you fall down the stairs and break your ankle or something. So any office visits where you go in for illness, injury, that's going to be a $25 copay. On the HSA, it's going to be 80% after your deductible. So the copay, how the copay works is you will first have to pay your deductible, $1,000, and then you'll have a $25 copay up into that $3,500 or whatever the coverage is for that specific service. So, the HSA, you have the $3,400 deductible, and then you pay 80% until you hit the $4,500. So, then if you have like a specialist office visit, if you have any heart problems or anything like that, you will be looking at a $35 copay and still an 80% on the HSA plan. Any mental health is going to be a $10 copay, and then that's covered at 90% with HSA. Any non-preventative telehealth visit is 100% covered. So telehealth is any audio video type of visit. So if you you want to update your meds or something, some providers will let you do that just over a video visit. That's 100% covered on both plans. And then the rest of these are very similar. These are all the same for both plans, which is 80% after deductible for each of these. That's going to include lab and x-ray, inpatient, outpatient hospital services, so things like physical therapy, if you room and board, labs, stuff like that. ER visits, 80%. Chiropractic care, we do have a max of 20 visits per calendar year, and that's covered at 80%. And then mental health care, not like a regular office visit. If you need like inpatient services, that is also an 80% after deductible. Okay, then looking at prescription, this is similarly copay versus a deductible. All of the HSA plan for prescriptions is 80%. You pay 80% after deductible. With traditional PPO, we have 4 different tiers of types of prescription medication. So tier 1 is the preferred generic. So say you're taking azithromycin for strep throat or something, and that's the preferred treatment for strep throat. I don't know if it is or not, but we'll say it is for this example. And you get a generic brand of that. That would be a tier 1. A tier 2 is going to be amoxicillin. Let's say amoxicillin is the non-preferred treatment for strep. Again, I don't know if that's the case, but for this example, we'll say it's non-preferred. The generic brand of amoxicillin, that would be a tier 2. And then if you go to like a brand name, preferred is tier 3 and non-preferred brand name is tier 4. So each of these, tier 1 is a $10 copay, tier 2 is $70 copay, tier 3 is $40 copay, and tier 4 is a $70 copay as well. So non-preferred are both $70 copays. And a lot of times that only happens like certain allergies, or maybe you have an interesting presentation of something, I'm not exactly sure, or some medication isn't working for your diabetes and so they're trying some other things. That could be the case. And then so that's going to be for any of the 30-day supplies. For 90-day supplies, it's going to be double. So a 20, an 80, and 140 for each of the non-preferred. And then any specialty. So I can't think of a good example for a specialty offhand, but you can always call and verify. And I believe, so this is through Blue Cross, I believe you can go online and check. They have like a prescription like list where you can look at, you know, what their categories for things are. Usually the clinic will be able to help you do that, but you can always come here and I can try to help you look into things too. Like I was saying, so specialty, that is 20%. For traditional PPO is a 20% after deductible, up to $200. So some things can be, you know, 90-day supply, 30-day supply could be like $3,000. It really depends on the medication. So here, I'll circle this. Here is where it tells you what each of these are for tier 1, 2, 3, and 4. And let's see. Okay, and then on the back, so we've got a couple of things about how to do mail order prescription drugs, and then some specialty health programs. So we've got a sleep management program called Sleep Charge. We've got Hinge Health, that's exercise therapy program, and then we have Omada, and that's going to be just a general health goal program. So and it talks more about that in here, so I'll give you this when I'm done. What are you thinking to put in? Are you thinking the copay plan, the PPO, or the HSA route, deductible, or a co-insurance plan? Sure. Okay, and can you tell me your social security number, please? Okay, perfect. Okay, so that is good to go. And of course, like I said, you can change at any time within the first 2 months. We can change whatever you need, and then there's a cycle that comes along with some of that. So with the HSA, you can change that every pay period, but not the covered plan, if that makes sense. You can't change from HSA over to PPO, but you can change the amount you put into your HSA. Then we've got dental, we've got Delta. So, and again, this is all online, but so we have 2 dental plans. One is standard and one is called enhanced. The enhanced is essentially twice the premium, but it has a little bit different coverage. So really affordable though. Standard is $5.43 per pay period. So probably not something you might not even notice, which a lot of people tend to think of dental insurance as maybe being unnecessary and they don't get their teeth cleaned and things, but Especially like preventative services are 100%, and paying out of pocket for those every year, even if you don't get any extra work done, would be way more expensive than $5 every pay period. So I do recommend that. Enhanced is $10.40 every pay period. Standard has a $75 deductible. Enhanced has a $25 deductible, which the deductible works the same as health insurance, medical insurance, but dental insurance has a little bit different of maximums. So let me see here. Okay, so I'll mark that. So diagnosis, both plans 100%, like I said. Routine and restorative services, so that's going to be something like sleep guards, fillings, that type of thing. That's going to be 70% after deductible or 80% after deductible with the enhanced plan. So not too big of a difference, but also it's only a $5 difference. So and if you go online, you can search up the exact like treatment that you're getting. If you get like a list from your provider, they typically will also help you go over the cost before scheduling for treatment. I find that's very important before I schedule. Then we have endodontics. Endodontics is root canals and stuff related to the roots. That's 70% with standard and 80% with enhanced. And then perio, so that's going to be gum disease and like bone loss, stuff like that. And that's the same, that's still 70% and 80% with enhanced. Then we're looking at crowns, bridges, and dentures, and this is where it kind of varies a little bit more. So crowns, bridges, dentures are 50% with standard and 80% with enhanced. And here's the biggest difference that I find is your annual maximum. So the way an annual maximum works with dental insurance is different than health insurance. In health insurance, an annual max is the most amount you're going to pay for your care before they pay 100%. With dental care, the annual max is the most amount your insurance is going to pay before they don't cover anything anymore. So it's a very, very big difference, and a lot of people can kind of get that confused, so I just want to make sure that's clear for you. Your annual max for standard is $1,500. For enhanced, it's $2,000. So it's a $500 difference for a $5 per pay period increase in premium. So so that, you know, whatever you want to do, if you kind of, yeah. And I mean, that's the thing, you don't really know. I'm trying to see what mine is here quick. Let me pull this up in a different screen. Yeah, I took the standard because before I got this job, I ended up having a lot of fillings done, and so I was like, I hopefully am not going to be having any more fillings for a little while, so hopefully I'll just take the lower plan for the time being. And of course we have open enrollment periods when you can change your benefits, so, and that'll be in the back of the booklet. So and that's usually at the start of the calendar year. And then here's another large difference depending on, I don't know if you have looked into orthodontics or not, so that's like braces type of thing. That's going to be 80% after deductible for the enhanced plan, but the standard plan has no coverage for that, so no braces coverage. And the braces has a separate maximum, which obviously standard has none because there's no coverage, but enhanced it's $1,500 lifetime max. So they'll pay up to $1,500 for, say you need braces for 3 years, that's what you get for 3 years. And if you need new retainers 10 years down the line because you lost yours, still whatever you've hit on that 1,500. Yeah. So, what are we thinking about for that? Yeah, let me show you what that looks like here if you have both of those on your check. Okay, can you see this here? Okay, so this, you see right here, this is going to be, yep, so that's going to be the change, that's going to be the difference, and then see if I go and add this, that's going to be the difference here. Yeah. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, let's see here. So I just need to have something in there. We can always just put standard and then, you know, change it, because again, these benefits are not going to come out till the 1st of next month. So you have a couple of weeks before anything gets taken out. So no worries there. Yeah, we can just do standard for now, and then if you want, okay, so click into that, perfect. And then I believe it's 30 days from enrollment, which would be the first month. I believe it's within 30 days of that is when you can be expecting your card. So we also have vision. Yeah, and I mean, it is recommended that everybody get an annual eye exam. I know I obviously do. I have glasses, and I typically get my prescription renewed every year to 2 years, but that is optional, of course. We do have lens coverage. Do you wear contacts at all? Okay. We do have frame and contact allowance as well, but if you don't have any eye problems and you don't plan on it, then we don't have to put that in. And of course, say halfway through the year you do get a prescription, maybe we can look at when the next enrollment period is to get that updated, so that if you do end up needing future vision coverage, we can change that. Similar to the dental, it's standard and enhanced, and the per pay period is $2.47 for standard and $9.19 for enhanced. If you, yeah, I mean, and we can put that on there. I mean, $2.50. We can put that on there if you want, and then sure. Yeah, let me. Yeah. Sorry, I don't have it pulled up, Kit. What was your employee ID again? Okay. That's good for that. And then this is all about your HSA contribution. So that is something you can look at. We have an employer contribution, and it talks all about the limits on there and what eligible expenses look like. So here's where the eligible expenses are, if you need that. And FSA, we didn't talk about the FSA. That's a flex spending account versus a health savings account, which allows additional, so you can use it in healthcare just like an HSA, but you can also use it on childcare. So, and like you said, we don't have that, so no need to worry about that. We do have additional other benefits. So we have accident insurance. Yeah, so what accident insurance does is it pays a set benefit amount on the type of injury you get and on the type of treatment you need. So the benefit amount might be used to pay for the out-of-pocket cost of treatment for the injury and the medical expenses, or let's say you can't cook for a couple weeks because your hands are broken, or I'm not sure. You could also use it for something like that as well. And accident insurance, so that's only for non-work comp, of course, because work comp is going to, obviously that's something we cover. We also have critical illness, so that's going to be like a lump sum of money if there's a qualifying diagnosis. I don't think it has a qualifying diagnosis in here, but you know what, I'm going to write that down so that I can add that to the pamphlet for next year. Critical. Illness. For 2027. Okay. Yeah, because then I can just have that on hand for people. I'll just make a printout. Yeah, so then we have hospital indemnity, which is slightly different than like accident insurance and your regular health insurance. It's not many people pick it up. It's not that expensive, but it's like, a lot of the voluntary benefits end up not being used. That's the only thing. You can insurance yourself to death, you know, but yeah, and like that's the thing, sometimes it feels like you could insurance out your whole paycheck at that point, you know. I mean, these are fairly reasonable, but we have legal identity theft, so that will help you access legal representation. Let's see here. This lists a bunch of other benefits. There's adoption and surrogacy reimbursement is somewhat popular, actually. And then we also have pet insurance, and that doesn't go through that's not through like a regular health insurance. You have to go, there's a website listed here, and that will give you all your benefit information. And it really depends on the pet, so it's not like standard like human health insurances, so it's a little different. And are you looking at like going back to school at any time or doing any continuing education? Okay, so we have tuition reimbursement. We do also have financial well-being program, and these are just things that you have access to. Of course, the pet insurance, that's additional, but I believe, let me see here. Okay, yeah, and of course, so on here there's a link. You type it in your browser and it'll bring up like a sheet. It kind of looks like a checklist almost of things that I've already added, so you can check. You can't actually change anything on there. I have to change it from here. There are a couple things you can change on there, like your demographic information stuff, but I have to change the actual benefit information on my side so that it's going through the payroll system correctly. So yeah, and I believe they taught you about PTO yesterday. So here's just a little more overview on how it's calculated. And here is our holiday schedule right on the side, and that's also up on the calendars as well. Life insurance, and that is automatic. You get a minimum election of $10,000, and then you can elect further coverage up to 5 times your annual salary. You do not have an annual salary, so it would be, let's see, let me go back and see what your hourly is. Yeah, so it would be, so on top of that, it can't exceed 500,000. You're not going to get close to that. I know that. So it would be like 250,000. right? Not quite. Close to that though. That's kind of what you would be looking at. We've got short-term and long-term disability, and those are benefits that you don't have to sign up for or anything. As far as like, we are automatically cover it, and we do have like things you have to apply to have it, but you don't have to like pay for it or anything, no premiums. And then we have our 401k. So our matching, so we will match 50% of the first 8%. So we match up to 4 basically. If you're up to 8, we have an auto enroll so that it'll put you in at a certain amount. I think, so our auto enroll is 3%. So if you want something else, you can go in and change that. If not, it'll put you at that. So, and a lot of people just keep that, and then it will, it has the auto increase. So, and you can change that if you want the auto increase or not. Yeah, I think the only other thing is if you wanted to add your fiance as a beneficiary, we can do that. And you can do that. I can do it right now if you want, or you can do that when you go on and make any extra demographic selections or changes. I think that is it. Yeah, and then we've got each of the pages has the links, and they're all, I have the couple of things we talked about circled, so yeah. I think that is everything we have for you. Let me just go through my checklist. And you can verify we went through the PTO. Perfect. Did Jonathan go over that with you? Yeah. He could be a salesperson for PTO. He's funny. Okay. I think that is... Yeah, it just has to load. The system's kind of slow today, per usual. It's this time of day. Yeah, so just give it a couple seconds here, and then it'll give me a confirmation that this was put in, and I can email that to you. Okay. Yeah, if you want, I can do a printout too. Okay, yeah, I could do that. Let's see here. What is your email? And yeah, you can use your personal email. That's fine. Work email. It'll automatically be sent to your work email, but if you want your personal email, okay. Gmail. And I will print a copy for you and a copy for me, because I usually just keep those filed for my own, just for the first few months, just to make sure we have everything. And then I can mark down any changes that need to be made. Okay, yeah, it's good to go, and that'll print. It takes a couple minutes, so I can get that to your desk by end of day. And you should be all set. So I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. And yeah, let me know if you need anything, of course. We're always here. I think Janelle, so she's off today, but she is here Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then I think she's off Friday this week too. Let me see. Yeah, she's off Friday. I think she has like a skiing thing, which I feel like it's kind of late in the year to be skiing. Like, it's spring, but I think she goes out of state. I don't know. But if you haven't met Janelle, she's very nice. Yeah, her information is also listed in the back head. So, me or her, you can always call us, and our contact information's in there too. So, all right. Then I will send you on your way, and yeah, have a great rest of your day. Bye.